is Killer Croc.
Attention comic fans, are you looking for the ultimate loot package? Then you must upgrade your miserable life with Loot Crate. Loot Crate delivers legendary loot to your front door every month. Whether you love comics, gaming, sci-fi, horror, anime, or more, Loot Crate has you covered with different crate options that fit you best. Enter this exclusive code at checkout to save 15% off your loot. We would like to thank Loot Crate for sponsoring this video, and always remember, the dark side.
Our story begins in the swamps near Tampa Bay. Waylon was born with an extremely rare condition similar to Ichthyosis vulgaris, which gave him a thick scaly hide. He suffered from a much more aggressive form of this disease, which also gave him razor-sharp claws and teeth. At a very young age, Waylon Jones was abandoned by his parents. His mother died giving birth to him, and his father left shortly after. He was then sent to live with his aunt, who had no interest in caring for her nephew. Waylon's life soon got much worse as he was constantly humiliated for his appearance. At home, his aunt was very harsh towards him and would frequently belittle him. One day, as Waylon is being troubled by some children, he is met by a kind young girl named Emma. Emma became Waylon's only friend, and he even told her about his plan to run away from home one day. One day he was approached by a man named Ed, and he invited him to join his traveling carnival. This idea gave the young boy hope for a better life, and he started planning to escape his hometown. Days later, one of the boys who humiliated Waylon had gone missing. Emma began to question him about this boy's location, so they began to search the swamp for him. They soon discovered the body of this boy and realized that he had been violently murdered. As Emma approaches his body, she is suddenly attacked by a crocodile. In an instant, she is dragged into the swamp and Waylon jumps in to save her. Waylon takes action to stop this crocodile and violently kills this beast. Unfortunately, his attempt to save her was too late, and Emma had been killed. As he began to flee, he was confronted by the local police. The officers had heard about his attempt to run away and arrested him for murder. Waylon then spent some time in a juvenile reform school for a murder he didn't commit. He was once again humiliated for his appearance, and his pain began to turn to malice. Over this time his contempt for humanity had grown, and so did his body, mutating to grotesque proportions and becoming increasingly reptilian in appearance. Years later, Waylon had finally joined the traveling carnival. He quickly became the main attraction as the beast who wrestled alligators. He was now known as Killer Croc. While Waylon found a sense of belonging in the carnival, he was still treated like an animal. As he spent some time in the carnival, his boss began to frequently disrespect him. One day, Waylon notices that he has been getting underpaid, and then his boss began to taunt him. Waylon had become sick of being treated like this, so he quickly responds by biting his hand clean off. He was done being treated like an animal and decided to turn to a life of crime to make a living. Croc's ambitions and travels eventually led him to Gotham, where he began to forge a criminal empire to make a new home. He began to commit mostly robberies and was frequently used to intimidate other criminals. By this time, his appearance had completely transformed and he looked more reptile than human. His primal instincts were sharpened, and he had become much more deadly. His physiology created new primal needs for living, so he found a home in the sewers of Gotham.
Welcome here.
In the sewers, some of the homeless people who lived there began to serve him, and even fight for him on occasion. As his crimes continued, he was eventually stopped by Batman.
I know I caught yours.
Batman saw a different side to this criminal and understood the pain under his beastly appearance.
Fix me.
I can't. Your mutation is aggravated by trauma. There's nothing we can do.
Liar.
Waylon was then sentenced to serve out his time in Arkham Asylum. In Arkham, he had to be specially fed and contained, and was frequently taunted by the guards. Years later, a psychiatrist was brought into Waylon's cell to study him. As the man began to ask him personal questions about his past, he easily broke free and killed him. Killer Croc then quickly escaped Arkham and was back on the streets. His reputation had grown after his escape, and he was feared in the streets. He was now recruited by more notorious villains. He was known to be an unstoppable force, and always got the job done. Killer Croc's crimes quickly made him one of Batman's most illustrious villains.
What happened to you was wrong, but you killed people. You have to pay for that.
Batman has always known that Croc wasn't evil, and always felt empathy towards him. Batman has even searched to find different ways to cure his unique disease. Waylon's horrifying disease continues to take a toll on him, as he is constantly transforming. As the days go by, he becomes more animal than human, which has made his life incredibly painful. To survive, Waylon mostly eats rodents, although he has been known to occasionally eat humans. Killer Croc tends to live a life of crime as means for survival, rather than a personal motive. His criminal acts would get him thrown in and out of Arkham, although one day he was offered something very unusual. Waylon was eventually recruited into a crew of criminals, the Suicide Squad. He would serve in these extremely deadly missions to get time off of his sentence. These days, Killer Croc continues his life of crime to survive, and tries to find solace in the sewers of Gotham City. With his unique physiology, he possesses all of the primal instincts of a deadly reptile. As he continues to change, Killer Croc becomes more powerful and animalistic. His immense strength and brutal reputation have made Killer Croc one of Gotham's most feared citizens.
You suffer, Batman, like I've suffered.
Please like this video and subscribe for more unknown comic origins.